Okay, hey, hi, hello, welcome back, Alexandrian Codex. You know, it would probably help to turn the volume on. Still no background noise. Oh, God, that's disconcerting. Yeah, so another day. Bunch of more small changes. Let's hop in here as Hawaii and take a look and talk about it. What I got done today. Honestly, what I got done today is not as much as I wanted to have gotten done today. That I'm still working on. So when I was insistent yesterday that I did change the armies and they should be spawning, they're just not. They're not, and I have no fucking idea why they're not spawning, and it's driving me absolutely insane. No background music. Okay, that's unsettling, but fine, game, fine. You can see I played around with the borders down here. The Southern Paiute are gone, Mescalero are gone, just to... I've done enough observation games where the Mexico doesn't start attacking these, or didn't start attacking these other nations for a while, so the borders would be real fucked up once the US moved in with the Mexican-American War, and Mexico would still find little gaps through like here and here to attack upwards, because the US border would be in San Diego, LA, Monterey, but Mojave would belong to the Paiute, Tucson would belong to the Apache, and those would still border the Mexicans, which would allow them to snake their way up here. And I was seeing like second and third Mexican-American wars, so hopefully this will downplay that a little bit. Before I unpause, of course, we're Hawaii, so we can't really take a look at it. The events I was talking about yesterday have all been implemented. They've all been implemented? Yeah, they have all been implemented. So if we take a look here at England, at the United Kingdom, they have two. So the United Kingdom has a decision in 1850? Correct? Let's see if it shows up here. No, it doesn't, because it's not the right year. That's fine. When it is the right year, it'll show up. In 1850, they're able to annex, by event, all of British Columbia. Now, of course, all of these get a choice if they're going to be annexed or not. They can say no. The AI won't say no, but if you're a player and you're playing in BC as one of these First Nations, you can say no and then face off the might of the British Empire. So then the UK will hold BC for 10 years until 1860, whereupon the British Columbia will be created, and British Columbia will be released as a satellite, just like the rest of these British colonies up here. The United States we looked at yesterday, and will probably be the last thing I pop in as. Canada's working perfectly. All of these are being integrated on the right day, the right year, etc., etc. You, my friend, have decisions. The Canadian Confederation, that's old. Numbered treaties. I need to write a description for the Robinson Treaty. Numbered treaties 1 through 7, 9 and 10, and 11 plus are in here. Now, there were only 11 numbered treaties. They're jumbled together like this because these were all signed in the 1870s. These were signed within 10 years of each other, and this was the last one signed. Also, it just lets you eat up anything that's left in case the AI have done weird things. The Robinson Treaty is the first one you'll get. Robinson Treaty basically lets you get all of this instantly come 1850. Now, of course, if the player is playing the Three Fires Confederacy, you can say no, 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 but then you have to fight Canada, which is actually a fight you can probably win. Truth be told, Canada does not have a lot of soldiers, and it doesn't like producing armies, whereas Three Fires Confederacy can have like 16, 19 stack. I mean, okay, divide that by 3, so like a 6 stack. Yeah. Red River Colony, I've changed their borders a little bit because some funky stuff was happening with the Iron Confederacy. The Crow are a little bit bigger because, again, weird stuff was happening with the Blackfoot Confederacy. And this way their names actually show up on the map. It's not that big of a balance change. So Canada's able very easily to eat up all of Canada eventually. Once after 1850 and you reach here, you can confederate the Red River Colony like instantly. These are a little bit later on. All of this you can confederate eventually. You can eventually do some good old Vicky 2 style colonization up here in the Great White North. I may keep it that way, I may not. I've been reading some old notes I had for potential tags to put in here. I had not done that because they'd be very low population, but fuck, that hasn't stopped me so far, so why not? Why not? Just paint the map. And last, certainly not least, because it's the focus, are the incorporation decisions with the United States, and we probably won't see too many of them here. No, looking north again. Ah, this should not be doable. This... Does this work? No. Okay. Put that on the to-do list. To-do. Looking north. Decisions. Yeah, I think I made those a decision and then made the decision do nothing, because I intended to come back to it later and got sidetracked. The looking north decisions are essentially in the game in case you annex or confederate Canada early on, to allow you to confederate the First Nations in would-be Canada without declaring war. It happens 10 years after there's looking north, there's looking north again, and looking north finale, because I'll come up with more creative names later. Looking North 1 lets you incorporate these. Looking North 2 lets you incorporate these. Well, the Cree. And Looking North 3 lets you incorporate these, I think. But yeah, it should never come up. Well, no, there are very specific circumstances in which it would come up, but not likely. Manifest Destiny still works. Now it gives cores over all of this all at once. So if you're playing as one of the First Nations over here, 1845 is about when you need to start panicking, because Manifest Destiny will just fucking destroy you. Yeah, they get cores on a lot of stuff now, and the AI is very excited to have an excuse to be belligerent. Yeah, relocation, all of these treaties have been added and are working. I'm still playing with the descriptions. Some I like, some I don't. Yeah. We're not gonna see them in action, because I'd have to sit around and have a game run for, 20 years to see the first one, but we can pop in as Hawaii and just observe for a little bit. What? Got like 7 minutes. I'll probably make this a 15-minute video, and I can talk about the... No, turn that back off. Alright, we'll just let this go. I have, today, on today's build, I've seen a 50-50 survival rate with Texas. Not perfect. I think their survival rate has gone down since I've made the border changes over here. The Yaqui have been added. I haven't added the Yorome, but the Yaqui are here. I'm still looking at other First Nations I could potentially add in Mexico to make things more interesting, but again, Mexico's the last thing I'm gonna work on. Decisions implemented, adjusted armies, still no clue about army spawns. Oh, tag changes. Yeah, there have been some small tag changes and core changes in here, but for the most part, things are pretty smooth going. Yeah, this war almost always starts out with Texas winning a few confrontations, but Mexico just has so much manpower it can pull on, and Texas is tapped for manpower like immediately. You don't have enough troops. You don't have enough people to reinforce your starting army as Texas. So and the AI really likes to advance when what they should do is stay here or stay here. Really, you should just stay in San Antonio. You have a fort, you have a river crossing, it's all you fucking need. Just stay there and make the Mexicans pay for every Texan. But that's not what the AI wants to do. Holy shit, are you gonna win that? No. My god. Wow. Houston, Sam Houston. You madman. I mean, now you're gonna die, but that was amazing. Yeah, okay, there you go. That'll put the war's over. There you go, that's how you win as Texas. Just make them bleed for it. Oh, yeah. The First Nations fight a lot now. They tend to get in like 1 or 2 good wars, and that's it. Because keep in mind, in Victoria 2, manpower isn't like some abstracted resource that just grows and recovers over time, like in the EU4. It's tied directly to your population. And every time you lose someone, that's someone who isn't going to be replaced until someone new is born. And population growth is very, very, very slow unless you have high immigration. So all of these First Nations really only have the firepower, manpower to fight like 1 or 2 exhaustive wars. And they tend to do that within the first 20 years of the game. And by the time 10-15 years have gone by and the US gets Manifest Destiny, they are bloodied and beaten and exhausted. And I was thinking about trying to address this, trying to slow their wars, but why? Why bother? Because it pretty well models the effect of disease and warfare on these First Nations in this time period. Once upon a time, I had been wanting to include disease models into the game to model the various epidemics that happened in the early 19th century, but now it's seeming like I don't have to, because keep in mind, these armies make up, anywhere from, for the smallest nations here, they make up about half the population, which is a lot to be losing. Now, in some of these bigger ones, more densely populated places, they only make up like 1/10 of the population, so they can rebound, but yeah, these early wars, and I don't think the AI's good enough to realize that going to war is like a really bad idea. They're just like, well, I have cores, I have an army, I think I can win, therefore I'll fight. The Vicky 2 AI doesn't have long-term thinking enough to go like, well, I can win, but it would destroy my country for a century. Who cares? Oh my god, the lack of music is deeply disturbing. This is on, right? Yeah. I just enjoy the sounds of Seattle traffic in the background. Yeah. I'd like to say that Sioux losing like this is an anomaly. It's not. It's really not. I may have to go and play with the Sioux population numbers a little bit, because it's very... I've seen one game where they get most of their cores. One. But for the most part, what I see is this shit happening. The Iron Confederacy and the Three Fires Confederacy just splitting them in half. I mean, they only take their cores, but it's still not great. Yeah, this is a perfect example. Their organization is horrible because they can't get supplies, because they can't make guns or anything else. There's all these provinces working on stuff, but there's only so much wool and iron, I think. Do they even use small arms? There's only so many materials in the world. And right, as soon as the war is over, they just deleted their whole army. They may be trying to recruit more, but like I said, 1 or 2 good wars is about all they get in. So if you were playing one of these, that is something you really need to keep an eye on and really need to keep in mind, is you have to treasure your army. You have to treasure your manpower, because that shit ain't coming back. You have to be very, very delicate and very careful with it. But honestly, I'm pretty happy with this build. Oh, I got rid of the Russian-Alaskan company or Russian-American company, because Russian-American company looked very silly. They had no events associated with them, and I wasn't interested in introducing any. Also, them being included in the game means I had to rewrite Seward's icebox. And why? Why bother? Like, why add a tag just so I have to rewrite an event for that tag to get annexed? Let's just leave it this way. The idea was, well, I don't want Russia getting much out of this colony because they didn't. And yeah, I don't know. I'm still on the fence about that. Today, I haven't done this, but this is what I've been working on right up until quitting time, which is about now, is gold. Gold deposits. Trying to figure out where in the U.S. gold deposits should be. What gold rushes qualify as a gold rush and which ones don't. Because in U.S. history, there have been like 20-something gold rushes. Some of them big and famous, like California's. Some less famous, but equally big, like one in Georgia in 1828. Well, I say Georgia, it really was like, here is the gold vein. The Carolinas line. Carolinas deposit, I think it's called. But that was huge for a long time. North Carolina, up until California's gold rush took off, was the third largest gold producer in the United States, and was for quite some time afterward. And one of the U.S. mints founded in 1835 was put in North Carolina because of the gold coming out of here. Very interesting stuff. But yeah, it's a very arbitrary thing, and I know we passed 15 minutes 2 minutes ago. Trust me. Every time I say, oh, just like 15 minutes, you know better by now. I'm gonna keep talking. It's very arbitrary to declare what RGO, what resource, what good should be produced somewhere, because the world is not a homogeneous place. Southern Indiana, Indianapolis, and Evansville didn't only produce grain. There's also a lot of cattle. North Bend and Fort Wayne wasn't just lumber and timber. I'd love to have these organically change over time, and I'm thinking about looking into that. I have been doing a lot of reading about the historical production of goods, what the economies of various states have been based off of or primarily focused around for different time periods, and there are some changes I'm thinking about making. On the other hand, I don't want to completely overwhelm the player and the economic balance by switching things out every 10 years or 20 years or something like that. So I'm thinking about that right now. I'm doing some planning on that right now. I think I'll be working on that tomorrow. What I'll really be doing for most of tomorrow is trying to figure out what the fuck is happening with the armies here and trying to fix it. Or just letting it go, because honestly, it works well enough right now. The main reason why I want armies to spawn is if I could do that, I would start out the Comanche, the Apache, and the Yaqui at war with Mexico, just to help give Texas more of a fighting chance. And also because the Comanche, Apache, and Yaqui were at war with Mexico off and on for like hundreds of years. And there's no historical rivals system here, so I want to make it clear to the AI that they should have animosity and hatred for Mexico. But again, the issue that comes from warfare here is just sustainability. Warfare is not sustainable in Victoria 2, and here we start seeing Mexico having a bad time. Mexico has Rio Grande revolting, France is invading. I think Yucatan could revolt at any time, but Mexico has a rough time of it. And honestly, I'm just gonna make it worse with like the California revolt and Sonora revolt that I want to model and some of the other things. Rio Grande almost never survives because Texas had a hard enough time and they got free troops. Rio Grande has 3,000, one group of infantry, I think, against 20-something thousand. Yeah, yeah. Oh no, the rebels won. What changed? Nothing. Nothing meaningfully changed. Yeah, yeah. So I'm having fun. I am liking this. I'm still playing with the balance of things in here. The Paiute now might actually be too strong. I have yet to see a game where they don't eat the Navajo, and I'd rather they not eat the Navajo, so either I need to make the Navajo have more people, which they probably should anyway, or make the Paiute have less people, which they shouldn't. The Paiute are really about where they should be, so I should probably just add more to the Navajo. I don't know. I don't know. The Comanche are doing great. Apache could maybe use more people, but they were not populous, is the thing. They are just destined to lose Texas to the Comanche, and I guess I just have to live with that. Yeah, yeah. Still no idea what the fuck I should be streaming. I have until the 14th, I think, until the backlog is up, so that's future Alex's problem. And right now I'm enjoying just coding and working for like 12 hours a day every day, then recording a hey I did shit today, and then going and playing Star Trek Online for like 3 hours. 4 hours. 8 hours never sleeping. Yeah. Yes. Oh my god, the Webster-Ashburton tree works. I I mention it because it just happened, and it wasn't working for most of today. I think the AI, the US AI, was getting too much bad boy or infamy somehow, that the Maritime Union didn't want to give this province to them, especially with all the wars they'd getting later. This just would never get exchanged. So I got rid of the bad boy restriction on handing over this disputed province, and it's working. That's awesome. That's awesome. Man, I really wish there was a way to just skip to year, like set year 1840 or 1850, 1870, so I could show off all the annexation events. I could sort of do that by setting the start date for all those events at 1836, but I don't want to go and recode everything twice. So yeah, I'm happy to be working on this. Everything seems to be working. I had a test game I ran until 1900, and everything looked perfect. The AI was forced by events to do things mostly right. The American Civil War was like hilariously one-sided, but yeah, it's good. It's good shit. I don't know what I'll be working on tomorrow. I want to work on the Mexican revolts. I want to work on the Canadian events. I want to add some granularity to when states can ask to be added to the United States. I want to code in an event that lets you integrate First Nations earlier than historically happened by adding them to your sphere of influence, and then getting an event that will annex them. Yeah. Quite a few things. But I'll hopefully get that done tomorrow. Until then, I'm gonna say toodaloo. Take care. I'll see you then. This whack music has just been horrible. Like, my anxiety normally when I'm recording is like non-existent, but just silence is killing me. So good shit. Toodaloo!